Hello folks, how do you do? Monochrome Ruins here, and today I'm doing this little special, not normally scheduled sort of upload for you guys, in which I am actually doing a response video to one that Markiplier posted earlier today entitled YouTube Has Changed. If you have not seen this video for whatever reason, be it you're not subscribed to him, you haven't had a chance to watch it yet, whatever the case may be, please go ahead and watch that video before you watch this one, or at least watch part of it, whatever you want to do. Just get an idea of what's being spoken about here, which I know not just him, but multiple other YouTubers have kind of been voicing this sort of concern, if you will, for a while now. So, anywho, I'm going to go ahead and have that video annotated somewhere right in this general direction, probably taking up most of the screen. So please feel free to pause this, go watch that one, come back here, all that good stuff. Okay, so we're going to see if we can make this coherent at all. I'm not sure how well this is going to work. But something in which he has said, which a lot of people have said on YouTube, is that over the past few years, YouTube has changed. And although I myself have not been a creator on the platform for that long, I have been a long-time viewer on this platform. At least 4 years minimum, probably 6 years maximum, somewhere around that time where I have devoted much more than just watching the random video. Daily watching, following subscribed channels, and just, you know, going through those sort of motions of building up the people that I like to see. And yes, there is, you know, very obvious proof, and it goes without saying, that YouTube has changed. But I feel like in a lot of respect, that's a good thing. Now, not all change is good. That's kind of just a fact of life. But I would much rather see a platform try to make some changes that maybe don't go over so well, instead of sitting there becoming stagnant. Because if you think about it, we as individuals are not stagnant people. Even if you're someone who feels like you're stuck in a dead-end job, or you're going through the motions of school and you don't want to, or you just are having trouble with whatever it is in your life, if you feel like yourself that you're stagnant, there's always something that's changing. It can be something as simple as you go to a new restaurant with a friend, or maybe you go to buy some sort of staple at the store, like paper towels, and they're out of the brand you always use, so you're forced to buy something different. Even the most minute and mundane of changes in life make it such that nothing is stagnant with us. So I would absolutely hate to see, especially in the technology world, a platform that has no change over time. Because to me, that sends up way more red flags than them trying to be innovative and keeping up with other changes and being leaders in the world of all this technology and changes that are happening. So although yes, there are some things in terms of business model, which is to be expected, as Mark did say as well, of course YouTube as a business, as a company, is going to want to try to boost revenue, which means they're going to look at getting more views and driving more traffic to their platform. And if that means that you take some of these really big popular YouTubers, you get them into networks, you send them to conventions, you have them do merchandise and all sorts of different like brand deals and collaborations and all of those type of different things that we see here on YouTube, of course, to an extent, that is what is helping YouTube to thrive. So they're going to continue to push for that. And there's nothing wrong with these other YouTubers taking part in that at all. So long as you are enjoying what you're doing, and you're doing it for you above anything else, bravo, like that's exactly what it should be about. And if the majority of people enjoy watching it, great, you've found something that you have other people to help you with, and it works out for everyone. Like, that is awesome. That is exactly how people are able to grow and change in life, and that's wonderful. But of course, you know, there is kind of that sad downside of you do start to see a lot of repetitiveness. You see a lot of these different, like, challenge videos or tags, or in the gaming world, somebody will post some sort of game that's really popular, like Happy Wheels, and everybody wants to start doing it. So, you know, it's fine in an extent if, you know, that's what people are wanting to watch and it's doing well, but you also can't just rely on those sort of videos to get you where you want to go. If that's what you want to do, great. If not, you know, you've got to kind of think about why you're doing what you're doing. But I think the one point that really hit me the most out of this, well, 2 points, I suppose. The first being how it feels as though there are less and less creators that are being creative for the sake of being creative. Which, to an extent, yes, you know, you can kind of see that, especially if, like, you click on a video and then all the recommended videos on the side are from the same 6 to 12 names you always see, and they are all the exact same type of video. You do run into that issue. But I feel like, and this is a bigger issue that I feel like other people maybe don't see as well, and I'm not trying to say that just like, oh, I can see all or anything, but something that I've been actively trying to look into is the fact of, if you sit down and you just think about YouTube, what exactly is YouTube? And I don't mean like to you personally as a viewer or you personally as a creator, I just mean overall in the big generic sense, like the way you would describe to someone what is math or what is retail or whatever. What would you give as a definition of YouTube? And I feel like, you know, you have, oh, it's a platform where people create videos, stuff like that. But if you want to try to give people more concrete examples, you're going to start pulling for these bigger names that we know. Household names, if you will, such as like PewDiePie or Markiplier or Jacksepticeye in the gaming world, which is what I'm more familiar with. Or if you're looking at maybe like daily vlogging, you'll have the Shaytards who really started that, and then there's other channels that are getting really big with that, like the Daily Bumps or Saucony Jolies, and then you have like the beauty gurus, so like Zoella, Sprinkle of Glitter, I believe that's her name, you know, just those type of things that you constantly see about in different online articles. You hear people talking about them. If someone is going to, like one of your friends might be like, oh hey, you should check out this channel or this video, there's a very large possibility it's going to be one of these bigger YouTubers. So I feel like it's become one of those things that there's two sides to YouTube. There's that side of YouTube I just spoke about with the very popular channels that have millions of subscribers and can get hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views per video, and all of their content graphically is edited really well. It has all sorts of awesome effects and the audio is very crisp. And even just like the different quality, if it's like 1080p or 4K or what have you, it also looks very professional. So we have now that side of YouTube. And yes, it's one of those that sure, pretty much anyone could buy the equipment they use. A lot of them tell you what they use and where you can get it. But in terms of the financials behind it, a lot of their stuff is very expensive. And back when YouTube first started, a lot of people were just using what they could, you know, find and afford, which yes, even back then, the low quality stuff was expensive, but I feel it was a lot more accessible for people than it is now, which that just goes into economies and supply and demand and inflation, all that stuff doesn't really matter. But the point is, there is that very real side of YouTube that it's much more professional, if you will, and put together. And then you have this other side of YouTube that I feel is just not as popular. Now, sure, there are a lot of people intermixed in there that have wonderful editing skills. They're using the top-of-the-line cameras and microphones. They're doing all sorts of different effects, and they stage stuff to make it have wonderful backgrounds. And they really focus on all the little details, which is awesome, you know, but there's also people who are just starting out who are using their phones, or maybe they've been doing it for a long time and that's just what they like to do. So it's fine if we have these two different sides, but I feel like the problem is when somebody gets to the more popular side of YouTube, it is very, very hard to break away from that to get more into the smaller, less popular side. Sure, you're going to start seeing some recommendations or hearing names about channels that maybe are almost at 1 million subscribers, but they aren't quite there yet. Maybe they're around like 750,000, which is still a huge number. I know when we see all these really big ones, we think like, oh, anything less than 1 million, that's not that big. But seriously, think about it. That is so many people to have following you. Like, that's a huge, huge number. So, it's just, I guess it's just really hard to try to go from the popular side to the not so popular side. And when people then think about YouTube and they think about this popular side, it's easy to sit back here and say that, oh, there is, you know, a lack of people who are being creative for the sake of being so, who are producing content just because they want to, not because of getting views or AdSense money or anything like that. When in reality, there is still probably just as much of that going on, if not more. But those channels are not rising to the top as quickly as others. For example, I just found another Let's Play sort of channel the other day, and she, in one of her fairly recent videos, made some comment that she's been doing YouTube now for 10 years, and she like just hit 500,000 subscribers. And yeah, she does have a couple games here and there that are a bit more popular in terms of like, you know, the game and other people are doing it, but she also completely does her own thing, exactly how she wants. You don't see her doing something just because other people want her to do it. Now, of course, there is a level there of, you know, you want to do stuff for your subscribers, but at the same time, you don't want to completely do everything for them. And I feel that's the second big point that is unfortunate about the situation. It is hard to say what started that cycle, but especially for the more popular side of YouTube, when you get to that point that you are able to live off of this, it's your livelihood. Even if you are still completely loving it and enjoying it with, you know, the majority of the videos you're putting out, there is that pressure to stay in the safe zone. You want to be able to make money and live your life. And when it becomes a career, which this goes for any career you're in, when you're in something like that, it's very hard to want to break out and take any sort of big risk. Because if you think about the whole, like, losing your paycheck, that's terrifying. Not knowing what you're going to do in that situation, like, that's awful. So it is understandable how people get stuck in this cycle. But it is also sad how it all goes together with YouTube as the company promoting these type of things. Not that they're trying to, you know, promote, oh, these are the only good content we have, but you guys want to see it, we're going to promote it to you. So then people do more of it, which gets them in this cycle. Just as Mark said, it is very much a slippery slope, a very vicious cycle. But I do feel, though, the biggest thing is that there are still a bunch of channels that are being creative for the sake of doing so themselves. There are people who are doing exactly the content they want to do, regardless to an extent of what their viewers think. Sure, you don't want to constantly put out stuff that nobody's going to watch, but if you're genuinely making videos because you want to make them, at the end of the day, it shouldn't entirely matter how many views you get or how many subscribers you gain. The point is you're doing it for you. So, sure, it's, you know, it's just a very slippery slope, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at. Now I'm starting to get a little bit rambly. But it's just kind of sad and unfortunate how things have gone this way, but I don't feel it's so much that there is a lack of the old and what YouTube used to be. I feel that it's still very much there and alive and well, but trying to just find that on your own accord, especially if, you know, when YouTube is so great about giving you recommendations or people do collabs, you find channels that way. If you aren't in that, like, inner circle of what's going on, very, very hard to try to find smaller people. Unless you're someone who actively searches for smaller, you know, not subscribers, sorry, smaller content creators. Sure, there are people who do that, but the majority of us, think about it, you kind of get like binge watching something late at night and you just go recommended video to recommended video. You get stuck in that cycle of whatever is given to you, and a lot of times it is the more popular things. So, I guess with that, I just do kind of want to wrap up, closing sentence here, that there are still very much creators who are making content because they genuinely enjoy just making it. Regardless of who's watching, if anyone, regardless if people are going to like it or not, they are making content because they want to. And as much as you do have to thank your viewers for being there, because, you know, if people aren't watching your stuff, you know, that is kind of sad because you want people to watch. That's the point of making videos and not doing like a private video diary or something. We are putting it out there to the public. But not everyone is doing it just for those reasons. And sometimes you do have to kind of step back and make a line and say, you know, this is my channel. This is what I want to do. Sure, I will take recommendations, but just because you say you want something doesn't mean you're going to get it. If you want to see something done differently, go make your own channel. That's awesome. It's great to have all these different perspectives going on, all these different ways of doing stuff, with games with multiple endings. Instead of getting upset when somebody does a certain ending and you wanted a different one, how about you go play it and record it? Because it's cool if other people do things different ways. So I hope that some of this somewhere made sense in there, and that this was still somehow a response. And I would love to start a conversation down below in the comments, you guys. Let me know what you're thinking in terms of YouTube. I know a lot of people I have right now subscribe to my channel are either smaller content creators themselves, or they're people who are subscribed to quite a few smaller content creators. So please sound off whatever it is. Agree with me, disagree with me, prove me wrong. That's fine. I want to hear what you guys are thinking. And with that, I'm going to wrap this episode up and bid you all farewell. Thank you kindly for watching, and I will catch you on the flip side. Laters!